Welcome to part 1 of my video series about the hexagrams of the I Ching, Origins of the Oracle. All the information in this series is taken directly from my book, The DNA Code of I Ching, by Jody Milner. It is available on Amazon. The link can be found in the description below. My I Ching adventure began in 1989 when an acquaintance handed me the Wilhelm interpretation of the Chinese classic. I had never heard of I Ching and knew little about Chinese history or philosophy. It would be years before Google and YouTube would arrive, so I could not go to my phone or computer and learn about it online. I left with the book after a brief explanation that it was an ancient Chinese oracle and instruction on how to use the three-penny method to seek answers to my questions. I played around asking questions of the oracle. The answers it generated were interesting. I read the foreword by Carl Jung and found his ideas about the text intriguing. A few days later, I attempted to return it. No, it's a gift. You keep it, she insisted. By 2005, I had studied I Ching as an oracle and as Confucian philosophy. I had also read other Chinese philosophy and history. Then one day, for some unknown reason, I became obsessively curious about why the hexagrams had been organized in such a bizarre way. Much of my early efforts centered around trigrams. After months of struggle and blocked paths, I finally gave up the quest, but wholeheartedly believed there was a method behind the organizational madness. It was not until 2020 that hexagram obsession struck again. The fire of curiosity had suddenly rekindled. This time, I gradually began to find success by decoding the 64 hexagrams into an 8-house system. Eventually, I understood the importance of the 8 houses, but it was a difficult place to begin my journey. I Ching, or Book of Changes, is an ancient oracle built on a 64 hexagram system. Each hexagram has its own short chapter in the book, which includes its numerical position, the title of the hexagram, a judgment, a metaphorical image, and additional commentary for each of the 6 vertically stacked lines. The inquirer writes down a question, then uses one of several methods to obtain a 6-line stack of broken and solid lines. Hexagram 2, for example, is titled The Receptive. All 6 of its lines are broken, or yin lines. The image discusses the receptive condition of Earth and how receptivity can be beneficial. The commentary for each line points to a positive, neutral, or negative outcome. The foundational principle of I Ching is yin and yang, or duality. In fact, the entire trigram hexagram system is built on the basic idea of these binary forces. Hexagrams are composed of 2 types of lines. These are broken yin lines and solid yang lines. There are many dualistic characteristics which, through at least 3,000 years, have become associated with yin and yang. Some of the most common are earth or heaven, dark or light, empty or full, cold or hot, and female or male. It is amazing how these 2 line types have acquired so much information. The story of I Ching begins with the earlier heaven trigram wheel. Because the artifact dates back into Chinese prehistory, its origins are shrouded in mystery, myth, and folklore. I have read it existed as far back as 3000 BC, but its most accepted beginning point is around 2600 BC. Around this time, a king named Fu Shi, along with his sister Nuwa, helped the Chinese people establish a patriarchal society along the Yellow River by creating the institution of marriage. From that point forward, the family unit would be the primary social entity in China. Fu Shi is also credited with establishing agriculture, improvement of fishing and hunting, and assisting with flood control. It is believed Fu Shi introduced the earlier heaven wheel of 8 trigrams that would eventually become the famed Chinese classic, Book of Changes, or I Ching as it is known in the Western world. The following words, honoring him, are carved onto one of the columns at the Fuxi Temple in Gansu Province. Then came Fu Shi and looked upward and contemplated the images in the heavens, and looked downward and contemplated the occurrences on earth. He devised the 8 trigrams in order to gain mastery over the world. Some writings depict Fu Shi as a dragon king responsible for creating the trigrams. Other writing credits Fu Shi with having received the trigrams from a dragon river god. The trigrams were either delivered on the shell of a river tortoise or conceived of while viewing a river tortoise's shell. The octagonal wheel is highly reminiscent of a tortoise shell. Perhaps Fu Shi found an ancient artifact depicting the trigram wheel, which had been washed up by a flood. Please give this video a thumbs up and tune into part 2 of this series, Decoding the Trigram Wheel.